Our next guest is a pharmacist who is willing to offer medicines to customers in Ireland at Northern Ireland prices. Shane O'Sullivan of Healthwave. Are these Northern Ireland prices a lot cheaper than they are south of the border?
They are, Matt. In a lot of cases, it's £5 sterling for a month of most tablets north of the border.
As against what?
Well, it depends on the drug, but for example, common cholesterol or stomach drugs can be, 15 to €25 a month.
So, how can you offer them in the south at Northern Ireland prices, and how will you put them into people's hands?
Well, we've gone with a completely new model here of a subscription of €25 a year, which we call Health Pass. And in return, we're just simply charging less of a markup on our drugs, So,
but where are you getting the drugs from?
We use the same drugs as other pharmacies in Ireland, and we're getting them from the same place, the wholesalers in Dublin.
And you're actually sourcing them in Ireland?
We are, yes, yeah.
And you can then afford to charge much lower prices than other pharmacies are. How?
Well, we do think it is a more high volume business that we're going for, but we've just decided to charge less of a markup, to put it simply.
And are you posting the drugs to people?
No, unfortunately, and it's in the interest of patient safety, I suppose, but you can't post drugs in Ireland. So people do call in with their prescription to us. They can buy up to 6 months at a time if they do choose to do that.
And how many outlets do you have?
Just one. Our shop in Dundrum Town Centre is the first, and it's the headquarters. We're open only 3 weeks. And
are you hoping to expand to other places?
Yeah, we're gauging the demand now in Dublin, which has been fantastic today, but we would definitely look at moving to possibly Cork and Galway even.
Okay, Darragh Loughlin's was Chief Executive of the Irish Pharmaceutical Union. What do you make of this model, the offering of medicines and drugs to people at a fraction of the price they're normally charged?
Well, it's an innovative model. It's not something we've seen here before, and the upfront subscription model is certainly new to pharmacy. The Irish pharmacy market is already one of the most open and most competitive in Europe in terms of the number of pharmacies and the fact that anybody can open a new pharmacy anywhere at any time they want. So right now, pharmacists are quite used to competing. They compete on service and on price, and they deliver the best value that they can deliver, and also deliver high quality service to their patients.
But how come the medicines that are sold in most pharmacies are apparently far more expensive than the ones Shane is offering at Healthwave?
Well, medicine prices are falling in Ireland and have consistently been falling for the last number of years. But we have now commenced a generic medicine era, which will see medicine prices falling even further.
What does that mean, a generic medicine era?
Up until recently, for some reason in Ireland, we use branded medicines far more than we use generics. So generic medicines are identical in all respects to branded medicines, which have come off patent, but they tend to be cheaper because the companies producing them don't have to pay for the research. That research was paid for by the originator. In Ireland, we continue to use branded medicines when other countries are moving to generics, and actually even like the pharmacy profession has been calling for more generic medicines to be used for years. But in the last year, the government finally passed a piece of legislation which now obliges pharmacists to give generic medicines where it's possible to do so. So they supply the cheapest possible generic version of a branded medicine. But remember, it is exactly the same medicine inside. It may have a different name, it may appear
different. But how much
different.
that depends on the doctor and the script that the doctor writes?
Up until this new legislation, if the doctor wrote the branded medicine, the pharmacist was obliged to give the branded medicine. But the new legislation which came through on generic substitution now means that even if the brand is on your prescription, if there's a cheaper generic alternative, the pharmacist will offer you the cheaper generic, so you get the cheapest possible version.
And are people opting for that?
They are. People are quite receptive to it now. They understand, I think, that the generic medicines are produced to exactly the same quality standards, and they recognise that there is a way for them to make a saving if they're paying for their own prescription, or if they have a medical card and the state is paying, then obviously the state is saving the money. But as more and more medicines come off patent, which is when the generics come available, they get cheaper, and that's happening right now. So with the cholesterol tablets that Shane has mentioned, they've come off patent, they're now available in generic versions, and the generic versions are cheaper. The HSE is doing something called reference pricing, which pushes the prices down still further. So everybody is seeing their prescription prices fall. They're going to fall further through 2014.
And Shane, are you offering only generics rather than branded products?
No, we offer all drugs, non-generics and generics, but the biggest savings are on the generic medications. we are providing savings of between 50 and 80% to people that are using the generic versions of the brands. But we do offer competitive prices on branded drugs that are still on patent, like Darragh was saying.
But are you going to make a sufficient margin to stay in business?
We believe so. It's a model that's in use in the US. The likes of Walgreens and CVS operate a similar upfront subscription service and reduce drug prices. So we are hoping to get.
And what has that done to independent pharmacy operators in the United States?
I'm not sure, to be honest. It's a very different model over there with insurance. The health insurance is involved in the reimbursement of drugs as well, so I'm not fully sure, really.
Well, Darragh, how worried do you think would your members be? I think you've got about something like 2,000 members in the country at present. How worried would they be about the possibility of others following the example of Shane and cutting the prices of medicines dramatically?
Well, all pharmacies are cutting the price of medicines right now as the prices come down, and there is experimentation. People are competing, and there are different pricing models out there, and we have seen over the course of the last year that there has been a lot of change in the market as pharmacies find different ways to compete. But ultimately, patients don't choose their pharmacist based only on the price. They go for value for money, but the quality of the professional service and the relationship with the pharmacist is very, very important, and people like to deal with a pharmacist that's going to provide the hands-on service, that's going to explain their medication and spend time with them when necessary and where it's convenient to go. So there are different models for different people. We have a mixed system in Ireland with chain pharmacies and independent pharmacies, and now low-cost upfront subscription pharmacies and pharmacies where you pay as you go.
And is anyone allowed to do stuff online? So actually that people can just log on and provide a copy of their prescription and have
Shane indicated it's illegal to supply prescription medicines to the post or online here, and that's for patient safety reasons, because the experience in other countries where they've done that, particularly in the United States, is that they end up with a lot of people doing harm to themselves or buying the wrong medicine online. Thank
you very much, Darragh O'Loughlin from the Irish Pharmaceutical Union, and Shane O'Sullivan, pharmacist and chief executive of HealthWave. Thank you both for joining us. We'll take the traffic with Darragh.